It's Pastor Brandon, and it's time for an update from our faith community. It's good to be with you again, and I'm going to be sharing information related to these last couple of days of October and for the month of November. There are going to be some Zoom links and articles attached to this information that you will find in our weekly e-newsletter that we send out every Thursday. So please consult that at your earliest convenience, because some of the events I'll mention today are coming up quite soon. First, let me say that I've been working with other colleagues in the Davis area, faith leaders from progressive congregations. We have released a document in some of our local papers regarding a more perfect union. Our faith informs how we are as citizens in the United States, as well as the role that we play in our faith communities. And so we wanted to say something as a group that may be helpful, we trust is helpful to our respective faith communities and to the community at large as we support one another in these very polarized times. So if you haven't seen it yet, there is perhaps in the Enterprise, but certainly in the Vanguard and even in next door applications, the release of this article called A More Perfect Union. It also has a graphic with it. It's a peace dove and a heart that says A More Perfect Union. And we're advocating that you will take it out, print it, and color it, and then put it in your window to indicate that you're a part of kind of holding the fabric of our democracy together while we walk through this time of the tense time of this presidential election. So you can also hear several of our faith leaders speak to these issues on the local Davis radio station, KDRT, and there's a link I'm providing there for that, so you can hear various voices. And then there's going to be a prayer service, interfaith prayer for a more perfect union, on Monday, November 2nd. That's the day before the election day on November 3rd. So Monday, November 2nd at 6 p.m., you can come online, and there's a link provided there. It's actually a Facebook posting, but you don't have to belong to Facebook to see it. And several of our leaders will be reading prayers and sharing reflections about faith in these days. And then I'm going to offer for our congregation a post-election prayer service of care for the soul. And that's on Wednesday, November 4th at 7 p.m. All these dates and times and the links for them are listed again in the e-newsletter. Now, I've been meeting with a group every Monday at 6:30 from our church, and we've been going through a video series called God in America that's continually available to you through the pbs.org website. But that group is continuing, and you are invited to join us I'm going to pivot the theme just a little bit. It's going to be called the Serenity Prayer and the Election. It's a Zoom reflection group to kind of be a place where we can go and share our hopes and our fears and our faith as a community and walk through this time together. And it will start, the first gathering will follow the interfaith service. And so that first gathering will be at 7 p.m. And then on Mondays following the election, it will be 6:30 p.m. And that's November 9th, 16th, 23rd, and 30th. We're going to be using the Serenity Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time. So we'll use that prayer to guide our discussion and live in community through these days. Going on now, I want to thank the reopening leadership team for our in-person outdoor worship services. We've had 3 of them in the end of September and then through October. And I just want to say thank you to the whole team, particularly our project manager, Jim Tisher, who led us gallantly through it with also humility for following protocols. And it reminded us of how precious our time together is, how it has been in the past, how we look for it to be in the future. And we have concluded the gatherings for this year. However, we are going to look into the possibility of some very limited indoor gathering. And as that becomes more possible, we'll communicate that to you so that more of us can see each other in person, as I know we have suffered not being able to renew that as a community of faith. So please stay tuned, and there'll be some updates about that in the next month. Also, this next Sunday, November 1st, is All Saints Sunday. It's a communion service, and we remember our saints, those loved ones who have died in the past year. And we'll also remember all the saints of faith, and that includes you and me too, and celebrate our connection across generations as we have sought to share God's love with one another and to live that out in our daily lives. So please be a part of that if you can, live streaming this Sunday. And it'll be a rich experience. It always is. It's one of my favorite services. And then later this month, on November 22nd, Jane and Larry Keys from Africa University are going to offer the message. They're going to offer a children's moment. And then after the service, they'll be with us for a time of Zoom chat. And so I want to encourage you to mark that day and look for the details that will be coming out in the calendar that's a part of this pastoral video. Advent is beginning at the end of November, and that's the signal that the new year for the church begins, and that's November 29th. And so as we do that, of course, there'll be preparations for decorating the sanctuary. There's an article in this e-newsletter and this Sunday's bulletin regarding how you can participate in your homes, either on pre-recorded services and perhaps in some other ways. But please look to the announcements then throughout this e-newsletter and in upcoming bulletins so that you'll know how to do that. I'll be mailing out about mid-month my annual pastoral letter for Advent, Christmas, and Epiphany. It will detail all the services that will be offered and whether they're live streaming or pre-recorded and how you might participate in that. So hope that you will receive that and read it completely and participate as you can. You'll also see in this e-newsletter a report from Carol Jewell and Judith McKibben regarding their experience of the online, first ever online annual conference session. They are our member representatives to the annual conference and voted their conscience, but on our behalf. And their complete and well-written report is in the e-newsletter. So take a look at that to learn what was addressed at conference. And then you can go online to the conference website, and there's a link for that I've provided, and you can actually see for yourself the bishop's presentation and sermons and those others who have spoken about racial bias, social justice at the annual conference. So take a look at that. Now, a few other details regarding our life together. The stewardship estimate of giving forms have gone out. About half of you have returned them. We really do need to have any estimate you can provide for what you hope to give in 2021 so that we can complete our work as a finance committee and as a church council to outline the ministries and how we're going to fund those for the coming year. So thank you. If you've sent them in already, you might expect a call from Luann Horsfield or Rosa Washington Olson in coming weeks if you have not. But we're just trying to get as good an estimate as we can so that we can make some critical decisions regarding ministries and staffing and facility going into the new year. But thank you again for your lovely support of the church. We gratefully receive what you share with us. And we have noticed a slight decline, which is not entirely unexpected in giving, but we hope that by the end of the year that has been made up, as it often is. And then we can move into the new year with a great deal of confidence that we'll maintain our ministries until we are fully operational and present in person again. For congregational care, many of you have been connected with phone buddies throughout this sheltering in place COVID time, and I know that you really appreciate that. Susie O'Brien has just really been a wonderful leader and coordinator in this regard, so thank you, Susie, for your ministry. And I know that many of you have been participating, initiating calls to people in the congregation and then connecting with them regularly. So I want to encourage you, if you have not received the calls you would like, to call Susie and let her know. But thank you nonetheless for all of your efforts, buddies, Susie, and those who've expressed a need for a call. Stephen's ministry continues to train new caregivers. And if you can think of someone that you think could appreciate an experience like that connected to a Stephen's ministry, you can contact the church office, Carolyn Chantry, Judith McKibben, or me. And we will try to find a way to connect you to that ministry and see if that's a good fit for you. And finally, our children and youth ministries. The playground equipment is coming along very nicely. And so thank you, Brian Horsfield, Brian Williams, Randy Ruin, Stephen Morano, all of you who've come forward, Dick Dowell, who've come up to push a wheelbarrow and dig sand and build that structure. We look forward to playing on that. And then youth group, we continue to meet first and third Sunday evenings at 6 p.m. and hope that you'll consider maybe being in on the Christmas Eve play that will be pre-recorded. And I'll say more about that in coming communications and when we meet together as a group. And finally, the children and youth ministries has always done well because we've had good leaders as chairpersons of that group. And although we have a staff person dedicated for that work, and I with the youth, Julia Butler with the children, it really is helpful when we have a chairperson who can work alongside staff for the needs of our families with children. So if that's something that's nudging at you that you feel like you could do, and if you want to know more about it, please talk with Julia Butler or with me, and we can share more about that. But we would really benefit from having a chairperson to work in that area. So I continue in prayer for that person to step forward. I'm going to close and say Happy Halloween, Happy Dia de los Muertos, and All Souls Day and All Saints Day. But I want to offer a prayer. It's a reflection, and hope that you take this with a spirit of hope in your heart. And it's by Stephen Garnos Holmes from his website called Unfolding Light. It's actually a Facebook account. But here's what he has to say about blessed are the poor in spirit. And I think if you and I are going through a similar experience, we can feel a little impoverished in our hearts these days. But this is what he says about being blessed, even when we're going through those difficult times. He says, Jesus refutes the delusion that attributes blessing to the happy, the successful, the strong. The poor know better. They're not blessed because they're poor, or heartbroken, or persecuted. They're blessed because God blesses them, no matter what. Your security, your privilege, your comfort, your accomplishments, all your merit, are costumes you wear. Underneath, you are naked and needy. If you wear them, know they are borrowed. If you are stripped of them, know you are blessed. All of us are God's beloved. No more than that,